My beautiful friends, it is still Friday, May 3rd, 2019. This is my post-market wrap-up. So much stuff to cover. It's going to be interesting. Well, I guess we're going to start off with the basics. Nice rally on Wall Street today. Stocks finished higher across the board. There was also a simultaneous rally in the bond market. Again, this is an unnatural thing. When you see debt getting bought up, what that does is suppresses rates, forces cash into the stock market. There was several factors involved in today's market. Number one, abysmal economic news. This U3 number that's getting floated out here doesn't even tell a fraction of the truth as to what is actually going on. The U6, the real number, is more than twice that. We are aware of that. Earlier in the video I did today, I posted a link to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a chart right in front of your face. It shows the labor force participation rate falling off of a cliff. As a matter of fact, people are leaving the workforce in droves. The last 4 months, a sustained loss. Sustained loss. You can't make this stuff up if you tried. Okay. With that said, we got a cryptic message today from Warren Buffett and also a new alliance. Sounds like a movie title, doesn't it? Well, maybe it is. And I want to cover a lot of stuff with you, and I want to get it right. So I'm going to read things to you, and then I'm going to cover it. Let us start off with this. After the economic news that we got this morning, the fake number, the fake data, right after I finished that video, we got the Institute for Supply Management Services Index number report, which showed it plunged to a 2-year low. I know that's not surprising. But again, and it flies right in the face of the propaganda that is being spewed. This is unlike anything that we have ever seen. It's the truth. You know, people make references to the previous administration, President Obama, absolute rigged, off the Richter scale. We all know that. This one takes the cake. There's actually no comparison in a lot of ways. So ISM Services Index falls off of a cliff. That's because our economy is so great. You know, let me cover this real quick. If you notice the way stocks were trading today, it's very interesting. We had a spike at the open, started to sell off, started to sell off, started to sell off. Then all of a sudden, Mike Pence, live on CNBC, comes out and says, this is a quote, "There is no inflation in this economy anywhere. Anywhere. There's no inflation whatsoever." Then he goes on to say, the Fed should cut rates. What did that do? Pow. Now we have this new alliance. The alliance is very simple. The Federal Reserve, as a matter of fact, how about this? It's right in front of my face. Federal Reserve today saying inflation pressures are muted. So we have the Federal Reserve, no inflation. Obviously, this is something we've been hearing out of the mouth of our president for a while. There's the alliance, the Federal Reserve, and President Trump. They totally agree that there's no inflation. Now we have Mike Pence coming in through the back door. All right? Kind of an unholy alliance, in my opinion. And we're going to get more lies, more fakery, more propaganda from this new alliance. Let's move forward here. It's crazy stuff here. So again, Federal Reserve says there's no inflation. President Trump says there's no inflation. Mike Pence, no inflation. Sure. Yeah. They must live in a different universe than we do. And of course, there's the calls for rate cuts. Stocks are loving it. And as a trader, yeah, it's great. Awesome. I love it too. It's exactly what we should be doing. All right, let's move forward. A couple of other things I want to talk about. Let's address the cryptic message that we got from Warren Buffett. Now, this I'm going to read this. These are his words, not me. Quote, Warren Buffett, no textbook could have predicted the strange economy we have today. Quote, word for word, verbatim. He goes on to say, here's another quote, these conditions are not sustainable in the long term. And of course, you know what he did, right? He bought, he's all in on Amazon. And of course, they make the announcement. Warren Buffett is buying Amazon and pow, 3% gain. They all play the same rigged game. It's incredible. Now, I talked about this earlier, but you're really not supposed to know this. And that's why I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read this to you verbatim. So don't share this. Don't get it out there because you're not supposed to know. The labor force contracted in April by over 500,000 people. This has now fallen for the 4th straight month. But again, they are pushing the lie of this pathetic, disgusting U3 charade. Again, this is an environment of lies like we have never seen before in history. Okay, here's another narrative that's being pushed today. You're going to love this. Americans' living standards are at an all-time high. And here's the proof. This is what the article, that's the title of the article. Let me explain this to you. Personal debt and consumer debt are at all-time record highs. And they have nowhere to go but higher. Okay. Loan defaults are on the rise. You won't hear any of this stuff. That's the truth. Now, what you also will probably not hear, maybe some of you are as old as I am and can remember, the same story was floated out at the top of the last market meltdown. Americans are doing better than they ever have. We know how that played out. Hey, guess what? We heard the same story at the top of the dot-com bubble too. And every other subsequent meltdown before that. Everyone's doing great. Nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, did you catch this one? I'm telling you people, mark my words. This is what they do, especially on CNBC. They paraded out a few characters today who were trying to tell you, sell you, that stock market valuations they're fair. But what they won't tell you is we've only had a higher valuation of this stock market one other time in history, and that was the dot-com bubble. Stock market valuations are in the stratosphere, absolute bubble territory. But no, what they do at CNBC, they send out some flunky to the street. Believe me, they look around at all the homeless people that are roaming, and they say, you and you, how would you like to get a nice shower, a shave, and some new clothes? And we'll even feed you too. But you got to read this paper. You got to read this. Of course. So they get these poor souls off the street. They clean them up real nice, shave them, nice brand new suit. Read this. Verbatim. Then we're just going to rush you out the door. Because that's what they do. No one asks these people any questions, really. So you think the stock market is fairly valued. Can you tell us, sir, what are you comparing this to? Well, they gave me this paper to read. And they said they were going to give me some food and a few dollars. You can't make it up. It's impossible. Now, here's the other thing. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because this one here is crazy. It's freaking crazy. So, you know the narrative. The narrative is, especially from Mike Pence today, there's no inflation anywhere. Remember that. So what they got to do is they have to find a reason. They have to spin it. Why are we not seeing inflation? Obviously, we know there is inflation, but they're blaming this. Slow wage growth. Slow wage growth. Slow wage growth is being blamed for low or no inflation, if you listen to Mike Pence. So in other words, people's salaries are not rising. Despite this supposedly fantastic, fake, dog shit number with regard to unemployment. Look, you can't make any of this up if you tried. If you sat down and got a little piece of paper and you tried to think of some abstract thing that you can make up and float out there, and maybe some people will believe. I can tell you this. I am not smart enough to do it. Maybe some of you are. But obviously someone is. People, they conjure this up and then they float it out. Oh yeah, this is the truth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's too much. It's too much. With that said, my beautiful, lovely friends, my lions, my lionesses, my cubs. I love my cubs. I really do. This guy is going to let you all go. I'm going to leave you off with what I usually do. Love each other. Care for each other. Be charitable. I will see you someday over the weekend. Maybe tomorrow to do my Markets and Look Ahead segment. I called another week right, by the way. Even with the rigging, the fakery, the nonsense, the propping up the debt market nonsense, the fake numbers, the no inflation, and everything else. Wow. I love all of you, and I will see you soon. Please share this. Get it out there. Let's get some people to hear this stuff.